Now look, this is gonna get weird, all right? It's pretty freaky, but it's safe. There's no reason to be scared.
Oh, no, Daddy don't get scared.
Really? Good.
Honda,
Yes, dear.
are you using your powers to turn on the light?
You couldn't have done that earlier.
I hate you.
I like this.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
I have an army.
We have a Hulk.
I am a god, you foul creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Baskin-Robbins always finds out.
I am Iron Man.
I'm Groot.
I am Steve Rogers.
We're all standing up now. Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
Because that's what heroes do.
Hello and welcome to Maximum MarvelDrive, a Who Watches podcast about the Marvel Cinematic Universe on Disney+. I'm Travis Fishburne.
I'm Alex Brunel.
I'm Dustin Meadows.
I'm Ryan DeVere.
And this week we are going to be covering episode 4 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The whole world is watching, whether you want them to or not. And it's an episode where, you know, stuff hit the fan. And it's really going down some dark stuff that I didn't think we would get to. Dustin, what did you think?
I mean, you kind of hit the nail right on the head there. This is, I mean, we're over halfway through at this point. Things had to take a turn sooner or later, but I don't think it was until probably a little over halfway through that I was like, oh no, they are going to go down this path with John Walker and everything else. But yeah, I dug this episode a lot. I feel like the stakes are becoming even more apparent for everyone involved, and the action sequences in this we got were pretty good. And yeah, I dug it. I'm really easy to please with this kind of stuff. Got a lot of gripes on my end.
Awesome. Alex, how about yourself?
It was fine.
Yeah.
I was in a, let's say, a forgetful state of mind when I watched it, so my memory's a little patchy, but I remember really liking the opening scene. The Wakanda flashback that we'll get to. I thought Sebastian Stan was great in that scene. I thought it was a really cool little scene. Yeah, some of the action sequences and just the way characters were handled, I enjoyed. And yeah, like there's the John Walker stuff. Yeah, like kind of like Angela was commenting as we were watching it. I'm like, yeah, because then he has to go dark so that like in episode 7 or like, you know, maybe halfway through episode 8, he comes back and then they help defeat the big bad and blah, you know, like obviously. And we just got the next step in that. Yeah. So yeah, the show's continuing. I feel like it's veering away from the things that I was really responding to in the first couple episodes.
Oh. Like anything specific?
Well, just like I did the stuff that made me connect to the show initially, like in the first episode, like the really good therapy scene, which has a similar scene in the Wakanda flashback in this episode, but then Sam's like real world can't get a bank loan problems, like all that stuff like took a backseat kind of faster than I thought it would or that I wanted it to. Because that's stuff I was compelled more by than like, you know, this international questionable morality terrorist organization, etc.
Yeah, enough setting up the real world. Let's get into the fun super terrorist stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'm probably in the minority about that. Carly is she's well played. I'm into the character well enough, you know. I don't know. I guess I like Marvel more when it's weird.
Yeah, I can see that. Ryan, what do you think?
You like Marvel more when it's weird, when you have like therapy sessions and bank loans.
Well, like,
you know, the weird stuff.
Well, that's weird because that's weird in a different way than I kind of meant that. But like, that's weird in that like Marvel stuff doesn't do that. We don't get a healthy dose of reality in that. But when I say weird, I do mean like the cosmic MCU stuff rather than the Earthbound MCU stuff.
Yeah. No, I the show continues to be pretty on par for what I expect from Marvel. It's never offensive. It doesn't do a lot to introduce like wild new things. A lot of this feels kind of like the paint by numbers stuff. What you started to touch on with the series, like it does seem like they kind of shot a lot and then edited a bunch down, because as we get later on in this series, I've noticed like the editing has started to get a little more choppy. We're missing little parts here and there. And so like it definitely feels like they at some point were like, all right, we need this pace to go a lot faster than where we're going.
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be 10 episodes, and they changed it to 6.
Oh, was it
wow.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know if that was a budgetary. That's the only reason. I mean, that makes sense. I don't know why else they would do that.
So there is a theory running around out there that the
Secret
show
4 more episodes.
The secret 4 more that originally the plot of this season was going to take place around a global pandemic, and this would have been shot in late 2019.
Sure.
And early 2020, they went through some really heavy like reshoots and re-editing and changed a bunch of stuff. And a couple times in the season so far, we've gotten this kind of mention about some diseases, and the flag smashers have, every time we've interacted with them, they're taking supplies like vaccines and things.
Yeah.
It seems like there was a pretty significant plot point that they had to drop in 2020 because it just wasn't going to land well.
That would be very interesting if it was like that amounted to about 4 episodes of television, and that's the cut material. There's like 4 episodes that are so deeply entrenched in a pandemic plot line that they can just never be seen by humans.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get
the pandemic cut.
Release the pandemic cut. That's interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know how much there is to it. I don't know if we'll ever find out anything about it, but it was something I came across this week that was like, oh, this really, it puts some pieces in place for me that really help, especially the motivations behind the flag smashers, some of the urgency behind like Bucky and Sam like just breaking Zemo out and stuff. Like when you start going, oh, okay, there's lives at stake, vaccines are being taken from people who need them, and this, that, and the other. Now we start equating like, okay, there's urgency here, there's global issues happening. Now it feels more urgent. It feels like they're on the clock to get things happening. So
yeah,
I don't know.
That'd be very interesting if that were the case. Unfortunately, we don't know whether or not it is, and it just with what we are given, that's just not what we have, and therefore those pieces, not the audience doesn't have the luxury of looking into this and figuring out like, oh, it was supposed to be this, and I'm filling, the show should be filling in those holes for us. So
yeah,
you only get what you get.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was plenty to enjoy about this episode. Specifically the Wakandan stuff, which we can jump into right now, because the episode starts to a flashback in Wakanda 6 years ago, where Bucky and Io are sharing an intimate moment by the campfire. And sounds different than how I meant it.
Hey, if you're going to share an intimate moment, what better place than the campfire?
Share the intimate moment by the campfire you've always wanted in Wakanda.
Yeah, so
that was
she's
very soothing, Alex.
Thank you.
That was like some ASMR stuff.
We came
That's
in.
probably what broke him of the Winter Soldier programming.
ASMR?
Yeah.
100%.
Lo-fi hip-hop needs to get brainwashed too.
So this would have taken place in 2017. when he was the White Wolf in Wakanda.
Yeah, he's still armless.
Mostly armless.
Mostly armless. That was a good one. That's a subtle joke. I like this scene a lot. I thought like, you know, this is more what I wanted out of the show. I think, you know, I love going to a place as kind of fantastical as Wakanda in a show that is like more real world based than that side of the MCU, I feel is. Yeah, no, this scene, more of this. I like this. Let's have Bucky's Lost Weekend. Can we have like 3 episodes of that? That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been really. I mean, we keep talking about the Black Widow movie and how it feels like it's kind of lost steam. And even before everything actually happened, it felt like it lost steam because of when it takes place and who it's about. And you're like, oh, why do we want to see this?
Right.
Whereas I feel like they could do the same thing with, like you said, the Winter Soldier and his time in Wakanda during like those 2 years, same time frame, and you'd be a little more interested.
Totally agree.
I think that might be a nice stopgap for them while they try to figure out the stuff with Chadwick Boseman. They could do they could introduce a new character that could take on the mantle of Black Panther. They could do some neat stuff because, as far as we can tell, I mean, he didn't really have Bucky didn't have a lot of interaction with T'Challa during that time. He seemed like he was kind of off on his own area doing little camping trips and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'd take it.
Yeah, and then we cut to present day Io. She gives Bucky 8 hours to use Zemo before the Wakandans take him for crimes of having killed their king, T'Chaka.
It makes sense. I mean, it makes sense.
How did he not get extradited a long time? Zemo get extradited a long time ago for this. Like that.
I think at that point, Wakanda was still keeping to themselves, which is probably a lot of the reason for that.
But Wakanda had started to come out of the shadows by the end of Black Panther.
But that was still post-Civil War after Zemo was in captivity.
Yeah, I'm trying to place the timeline. I mean, it would have been... They started to show up pre Infinity War, though.
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't know what the limits of killing a king are. I'm sorry, you've got immunity now.
Yeah, I mean, who all else did Zemo kill in that explosion? And what are all the other war crimes he's guilty of for everything he did in Civil War? How do you determine like whose jurisdiction he falls under? Which is, I think, why he's in Germany, because that's where all that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that I think that makes the most sense. Probably. It's like it'd be one thing if he'd only killed T'Chaka, but there's no way that he was the only casualty of that.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's got a long rap sheet, and all the Hydra people he killed before that even.
Yeah. That poor old guy in Cleveland.
Oh no. And, dying in the worst way.
Some say that water's still going today.
The original Wet Bandit, Zemo.
That's a good one. I like that one.
And speaking of Zemo, he uses a Turkish delight to find Morgenthau at a funeral for her adoptive mother. And he uses Turkish delight, as I said, and that's as soon as he whipped it out, whenever that's mentioned, I can't not think of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
And he uses it to get info out of children, which is the exact same thing that the White Witch uses it for, to have Edmund sell out his brothers and sisters.
Yeah, Edmund's a punk.
Yeah.
Turkish
You're
Delight.
right. You know, I was trying to pinpoint in my head why Turkish Delight was in there from childhood, and I couldn't figure it out. But I think you hit the nail on the head. That's a reference.
Yeah.
There was
Which
quite
kind
the
of-
craze of Turkish Delight there for a hot minute.
In itself, it's an allegory for the 30 pieces of silver that Judas accepted to do Jesus dirty.
Because it's C.S. Lewis, and it must be.
Yeah.
It's all allegory.
Wow, a lot of
Yeah.
Turkish delight with 30 pieces of silver.
That's right.
So, Civil War has a comment about the Super Soldier Serum, like the Winter Soldiers, like how they were highly trained. You know, they could destabilize a country in a weekend and like whatever. And like, are we led to believe then like that was not training that Bucky maintains? Because
every time he's I don't know, every time in any of these situations, whether it be in combat or anything else, I always feel like he should be the most capable out of all these people of doing things.
the Winter Soldier, the greatest assassin of the time, but I don't know. I just don't get those vibes from here. I think it's cool to see Zemo, you know, thinking smarter rather than trying to use brawn.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, but I feel like Bucky should know how to do this. He should know how to get information and observe and like surveil.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree.
No, instead we get Zemo being creepy to kids with candy. And so then they go to the funeral and they're intercepted by Walker and Hoskins. And
Just
so
show
then,
up.
yeah,
These friggin' dudes. Like my God.
He doesn't
It's
show
really
up in an
weird.
army jeep anymore.
no, it's strange to me. I was thinking about it throughout this episode. I'm like, throughout this entire series, it's strange that they picked this guy to be Captain America and they just like set him loose with his buddy. They don't have any real government presence. They don't seem to have like, you know, they don't have the Super Soldier Serum or abilities. It's just very strange to me to have some random guy representing the government on his own with just a shield and a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even like an oversight committee or something that he reports and checks into.
Yeah. I got the impression early on when they revealed him that he wasn't going to actually do a whole lot and he was going to be more of a symbol and a figurehead.
Mm-hmm.
But
instead they
strange
seem to
to-
just let him operate autonomously as he sees
Yes.
fit.
Exactly.
Which is nuts because like they didn't even let the real Captain America do that. I feel like until Civil War happened and he was on the run.
Right.
Like Steve was always reporting to somebody, whether it was Shield or the Army or whoever was kind of handling him
Mm-hmm.
at the time. It's also nuts to me that like I feel like they would have done some kind of a psych profile on this guy because I mean you can have like a pretty solid like military track record and also be a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs at the same time. And I feel like a psych eval definitely would have picked up on John Walker's very glaringly obvious inferiority complex.
Oh my God. The most obvious inferiority complex of all time.
Like they have been sowing those seeds since episode 2, and every subsequent episode, like they've just hit it on it even harder until it literally reaches like the boiling point at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Yeah, not a lot
chin,
of subtlety.
superior everywhere else.
Yeah, I was expecting in this series, I was expecting to see a little more of William Hurt, Thunderbolt Ross, who was
We haven't seen him at all.
Yeah.
right. We haven't seen any word of him, I think, since the Sokovia Accord, since Civil War.
I think there's a theory that he's the broker.
He's Mephisto.
Yeah.
What if the broker is Mephisto?
Cool.
What if the broker is Kit Fisto?
This is too many layers now.
Wow.
We're through the looking
But,
glass here, people.
Yeah, in terms of characters in the MCU that represent government oversight, that has continually been Ross. I honestly, I just want to see Red Hulk show up in the MCU at some point. That's just he's a cool character. But I guess for them to have an established person, it would have been cool to see them use it a little bit.
Yeah, because they can't use Gary Shandling anymore. They can't use Powers Booth anymore.
Oh yeah.
God, Powers Booth showing back up would have been great.
Yeah, let's get some of these people in before we lose them.
Yeah, let's get Ian McShane in the MCU already. Come on.
Ooh.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened. Why
Ian McKellen
hasn't
in the
he?
MCU.
Why has because DC did Ares. Yes, we can't have more. The gods are what other Norse gods could Ian McShane play? I mean, like, I guess I'm just thinking of American gods.
I was gonna say, I don't think. Yeah,
I'm just thinking of the show where he already plays a god.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was gonna say he can't be Ares because like DC had Ares and Marvel won't put Ares in a Marvel movie now.
Yeah.
No, just get him in the sandbox. Just do something.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah,
All right,
let him do
people, submit your comments, emails. Fancast Ian McShane in the MCU.
You've had like every actor that's willing to do a comic book movie in your franchise already. Just come on, there's room for this guy here.
Yeah.
Like, I know we're probably a ways from them doing anything with X-Men, but how was Ian McShane not Sebastian Shaw in an X-Men movie already?
Yeah, great question.
Yeah. Come on, if you're gonna do stupid Phoenix crap, at least give us the Hellfire Club and then throw Ian McShane in it.
Yeah,
Come on.
do it.
What?
Seems brilliant.
All right. And then
So
Love you
Candy,
just got
right?
that queued up.
they agree to give Sam a chance to go and speak to Morgenthau alone. So he goes and he attempts to persuade her to end the violence, but an impatient Walker intervenes and a fight ensues, in which Zemo destroys most of the serum before he is apprehended by Walker, who secretly takes one last vial for a snack later.
I would say I'm really happy with the consistency of Zemo here.
Yeah.
Because they definitely made it for a second seem like he was going to take one for himself. And I was like, that doesn't seem to keep. And then he started smashing. I was like, okay, there we go. There's Zemo. Good.
We knew somebody was walking away with one vial.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It was a toss up on who it ended up being.
Right.
Yeah.
And what a dick move to only grab one and not two. I mean, like Hoskins, your best friend and closest confidant. Why would you not also give it to him so that both of you can continue being this team?
I think that was literally the only one left, though.
It was the last one.
Oh, right.
Because like it rolled behind something
right,
after Zemo smashed them.
That's right.
Otherwise, I think he would have taken it and he would have given it to him, and they would have done they would have taken it together and they would have like locked their elbows around each other.
They would have absolutely done that. Yeah.
Little New Year's Eve.
Okay,
touch.
so never mind. Forget I said that. The history has an erase button. But all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, it makes sense with this character, but Sam is very like a pacifist here. He's really like, yeah, this makes sense, but like we can't just go around killing random people. And he's spent so much time in these 4 episodes killing random people. I mean, given these random people are also trying to kill him, but he's no stranger to just like solving things with a bullet. He's been doing it like quite a bit to one degree or another in this series so far. So like how hard he leaned into we must solve this non-violently was kind of like, okay, sure. Yeah.
For me, I think largely a lot of that seemed to come from like him knowing fully well that that's his past and him like seeing that this isn't just like some military target, that like there is a reason that they're doing what they're doing.
Sure.
And I think that more than anything is the justification for why he tries talking things out as opposed to going in guns blazing like usual.
That's fair.
And I think especially I think we kind of skimmed over this earlier. While Bucky and Zemo are trying to find out about the funeral, Sam has that encounter with one of the guys in the building that's like reading to the children. Mm-hmm. And they kind of have that exchange about how like they don't trust outsiders just because they've been failed in the past by people trying to intervene. So I think that is largely a lot to do with his motivation as well.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they also, I mean, the goal of the show is to get us to buy that Sam deserves the shield, right? Like,
yeah,
not only prove it to himself, but to prove it to the audience.
Absolutely.
And he really is the only character right now that could have walked into that room with Carly and had this conversation. And I thought it was a cool moment. This was definitely one of the highlights of the episode for me because Carly is not necessarily a villain. She's just kind of a byproduct of a really bad situation. And so you don't fully want to villainize her. And in this moment, I mean, she really is just kind of this young girl that's trying to do what's right based on what she sees in front of her.
Yeah.
And they played that out really, really well. Like, it was totally believable that both those characters walk into the room with their convictions and they reach this kind of agreement before, Walker comes in and really messes stuff up.
He also makes a weird way of making himself known prior to even talking to her. Well, like, she's giving a speech at the funeral and he walks into the center window where she can see him clearly. And it was just a strange move because I feel like the response that I would have suspected her to have would be, oh, I got to run now. No, I'm going to stick around and see what happens.
Really got to finish out the speech and then I'm going to run for my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he made it pretty clear through his body language that his intention was not to try and engage her like in a fight or anything. And it seemed like he was trying to communicate that while still being respectful of where they were and what was going on. Although I will say there was a missed opportunity to not have some like doves fly across the screen before he enters the room. But
John Woo it.
Yeah.
John Woo. Yeah. How did Walker get past Bucky?
I think he just kind of ran past him and caught him off guard.
Yeah.
Gave him that speech about your partner's in there and he needs backup. So let me go through.
Yeah, it's very strange that they like just go and do that and bombard. Like, clearly she was not running. Clearly, I don't think there was any danger. They could have just maybe hung back.
Yeah.
Eavesdropped a little and been like, oh, this seems to be going okay.
There was also the aspect where Walker's like, you got 10 minutes. And it's like, that's obviously not enough time to do all of the things that are entailed here. Like, the clock is obviously going to run out before before your arbitrarily declared action point occurs.
Yeah. And that's one of the great things, like, that clearly makes it just more evident that he's not fit to be Cap. Is like, we've seen Steve Rogers take command in a situation when it called for it, but also like jump into wherever he's needed without like having a power trip about who's calling the shots over it.
Right.
And again, this is just more of John Walker's hang-ups and him just like thinking that having the shield means that like he's right and he's in charge all the time, which is just terribly uncharacteristic for the person that should be taking up that mantle.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Then we get IO. Oh, you have something else, Ryan?
Just that Zemo's apparently not a very good shot because he does hit Carly, but man, waited a long time for the follow-up shot and she got away. Mm-hmm. So I guess when I watched it, I wondered, Is there any reason that Zemo wants Carly to stay alive? Not really anything that we've seen yet.
He only wanted her alive for that fanny pack full of the Super Soldier Serum, which
I
we
think
didn't talk
that was
about that. Like they have that hidden in a fanny pack at a tombstone.
Right. Which is a great hiding spot that they then do not restore for any kind of future use. They just left sitting open. That really bothered me. That's a good hiding place that they have now just abandoned forever.
And maybe that's how it works. You don't use it twice.
I guess.
I did think it was funny that they went to go get it. Like they're getting the serum out, and they're like, "All right, now we got to go run this errand first, and then we can go on our way." I was like, okay. You could have just left it there, probably. Come back for it later. No? Okay.
No.
So then Io and the Dora Milaje come for Zemo, but then Walker refuses to hand him over, and they have a fight, and in which they humiliate Walker, and Zemo escapes.
This
is a good fight.
Yeah, it's a great fight. This whole episode is just John Walker screwing up left and right.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like, just further driving home that, like, the turn that we're going to see by the end of the episode. Like, anyone else, like, Sam and Bucky know full well, like, hey, let's try not to create an international incident here. And John Walker just has to be swinging around with this big old American piece, and it's like, no, we're in charge. Like, you need to stand down. Like, as soon as he lays his hand on Io's shoulder, it's like, all right, she's gonna knock him out. All right, cool.
Yeah, that was great. I loved them just watching.
Yes, I was about to say.
Sorry.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier just watching and saying like, go get him, Walker.
Yeah. The moral support was solid.
Yeah, that was great. That was maybe
and
my
then
favorite
when
part.
he does decide to step in and do something, he gets his arm taken off.
They kept a cheat code installed in his arm.
Yeah.
Just deactivated it.
To make it just fall right off, limp and useless.
Which is a pretty good bit.
It was a good moment. I liked this fight scene. Like the action sequences in this episode I liked. I think that's continuing to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many questions about the arm. Like, because you just see him using it casually all the time, and then when that comes off, I'm like, does he have any feeling there? Like, does it feel like there's something there or not there? And then when he puts it back on and he like tests it out, I'm like, what's that like?
I'm glad he was able to put it back on, because my initial thought was like, is he gonna just have to carry that around until they decide to put it back on for him and do whatever touchy thing to make it work?
That would have been a nice like little stretch where he had to do that, and he's just beating people to death with the arm.
Yeah, that's like,
that'd be great.
Can we just get one fight where he literally just takes his arm off, slaps somebody with it?
I mean, it's still vibranium, right? Like you can still like really pummel something with it.
Yeah, like how he's not literally like just shook his own hand and then pulled his left arm off to slap somebody in the face and then just swung it back on. Great bit.
It's got to be incredibly heavy.
If I could pull my arm off to hit people, I'd do it all the time.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it's a good joke, but this is literally who Nathan Fillion's playing in Suicide Squad. His whole character, arm pop-off guy or whatever his name is in the comics, he's a joke character. That his power is just that his arms pop off and he can use them as clubs.
That's hilarious.
That's great. I mean, oh boy, what a horrible name.
That's the point. Is it's a terrible joke.
That is a worse name than Polka Dot Man.
Or Condiment King. The Kite Man.
Nathan Fillion's presence in Suicide Squad leads me to believe that there has to be some kind of behind-the-scenes reason that he's not in either of the Guardians movies.
He's in the first one.
Is he?
He does a voice.
Yeah, it's a voice.
Okay.
Yeah, the character that tries to threaten them as they come into the prison.
Yeah. Groot picks him up by his nose.
I don't know if I knew that. All right, well. I'm just gonna shut up.
Real brief. Yeah, great fight scene. Anytime you get the Wakandans showing up, I don't know, it's just fun. It's dynamic. I like that Walker doesn't even get up on his own at the end here. We don't get the I could do this all day attitude. We don't get, every time he gets knocked down, he just kind of whines about it. Oh man, if only
he does not get back up again.
He doesn't get back up again. In fact, Lamar's the one that picks him up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, which is probably some foreshadowing there. But yeah, he just doesn't have that attitude that Steve Rogers has of like, I'm going to do what's right no matter what. You can beat me up, you can knock me down.
Yeah.
He takes the beating and then gives up.
Yeah.
And then goes and they go and get coffee after this and complain about how they're not stacking up.
Yeah, and then one of the Dora Milaje picks up the shield, and before that even happened, I'm like, I hope they take the shield with them because that kind of belongs to them in a way.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They take the arm, they take the shield.
Yeah, we're taking it all back.
things.
Stupid Americans can't use our vibranium anymore.
Yep.
I love it. Retaking what's theirs.
Yeah. So then after that, Morgenthau calls Sarah and threatens her, which forces Wilson to meet with her so that she can attempt to persuade him to join her in the fight, which he thinks is possible somehow.
Yeah.
And like you said, Dustin, we also get that scene between Hoskins and Walker. They have this, discussion about the serum, and he asks him like if he would take it. He's like, "Yeah, I'd definitely take it." And Hoskins would, and Walker's just like, I don't know if I should. You just tell the debate going on in his head. And as much of a terrible person as this character is, I do like that he has enough self-reflection to know, like, I'm not the best guy. I don't know if I should be doing this. Because I know if I'm in that situation, I'm like, there's no way I should take this. I should give this to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, he definitely started out as a little more sympathetic than he's becoming.
Mm-hmm.
Which sucks, because I think largely, like, at the end of the day, yes, it's his decision to do what the things that he ends up doing over the course of the series. But I think a lot of it is the stress of trying to live up to the pressure that's been placed on it. Which, again, just makes me wonder, I was like, what real long-term thought went into this decision?
Yeah. You talking just like government-wise to be like, yeah, we need a new cap?
Yeah, like, especially, like, you literally have someone like Rhodey in the wings who, is already a member of the Avengers. Like, why is that not somebody you talk to first if Sam Wilson is not interested in being Captain America?
Yeah, you already dubbed him the Iron Patriot once.
Yeah, like, Rhodey's already got a track record for following orders. And for being
delivering
a literal hero. Yes, exactly. And there's like, hey, how about we bring in this guy who's not a superhero, who has no powers, who doesn't have an Iron Man suit, and we'll just give him a shield and a different uniform and hope that cuts the mustard.
It's
like,
true.
It'd be one thing if they had a Super Soldier Serum from the jump and there's like, okay, this is our candidate for the new Captain America program, but it's just a guy that we gave a shield to.
Yeah. So weird.
It's a bonehead move.
And then in other examples of bearing the lead in this series so far, it seemed like they were going down a route like you were talking about with War Machine, with Rhodey, and with Sam of there's discrimination that still happens. We had that in like what is it, the second episode where they go to meet Isaiah
Bradley, yeah,
and the cops show up, and like we had this kind of weird one-sided thing happen between the police and Sam. It seemed like we were kind of maybe gonna touch on maybe Sam doesn't think that he's able to be Captain America because he's black.
I think, yeah, that's all they're doing is they're trying to just touch upon it. It feels like they're biting off more than they can chew, or they're like deciding we want to address this, but not fully. Let's make it apparent that that's what we're saying, but let's not dive deep into it.
Yeah. Also, going back to John Walker, now that I'm thinking about it, I know most people have forgotten the Incredible Hulk, but literally they already saw what happens when you give the wrong soldier the Super Soldier Serum with Tim Roth's character.
I was kind of hoping that there was going to be some Cronenberg body horror stuff going on when he took the serum.
That'd be so great.
He just turns into a
we don't know yet. I mean,
that would have turned me into a giant fan of this episode. I wouldn't have cared what else happened if there was a Cronenberg body monster in this movie or in this episode of the show. I wouldn't have cared about the other 51 minutes.
Yeah, this Captain America has a VCR in his tummy now.
Only plays Betamax though.
Yeah, he also could have sent this back to the So, does he have any reason to believe that if he didn't send this to the U.S. so that whatever, so they can synthesize more of it, that he wouldn't be the prime candidate to get the serum?
I think he's very much only focusing on himself at this point.
He's like, I need to make this happen.
Yeah, which again, just highly indicative that he is not the right person. And I'm thinking back now, even in episode 2, when Sam asks him the question about jumping on a grenade, he's like, "Oh yeah, I did it, but I used my special helmet." I was like, "Okay, I didn't even think to draw that comparison." Steve Rogers did it, believing fully well that he was going to die doing that. Genuinely,
and his tiny body wasn't going to do anything against that grenade.
Yeah, genuinely making a sacrifice.
It's pointless.
Throwing the shield down on top of a grenade or a reinforced helmet or whatever. That's not the same thing, and it's just. I mean, again, they just from the jump they've been making it clear that John Walker is not the guy, no matter what his military history is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very true. So then after that, then we get the call from Morgenthau to Sarah, which she it seems friendly enough until she threatens her kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a pleasant conversation almost up until that point. Oh yeah.
Yeah, she even tells Sarah that she likes her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then Sam goes and he meets with her. And then once again, for the third time, Walker and Hoskins engage in other members of the Flag Smashers. And it's very clear during all this that Walker has secretly taken the serum and is supercharged. And in the ensuing fight, Carly ends up killing Hoskins, and enraged by his friend's death, Walker uses a shield to publicly kill one of the Flag Smashers in front of a bunch of horrified bystanders who are all gonna make it go viral.
Yep. This was such a great build, these final minutes of the show. The second the fight starts, and I really like that instead of treating us like we're not smart enough to pick up on stuff, we don't get a scene of John Walker shooting up the Super Soldier Serum. We find out the second he embeds the shield in a stone wall.
Mm-hmm. Well, even before that, he burst through a door.
Yeah. He burst through the door, and I wasn't completely sold. I was like, maybe it was a weak door. But the second he planted the shield in the wall, I was like, oh no, okay, he's definitely juiced. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Also, first time we see Sam back in the Falcon uniform in like 3 episodes now.
Yeah, finally.
I was
Which
kind of
is-
surprised he put it on. It makes him like, exponentially more conspicuous.
Conspicuous, and like it's both exciting to see him wear it, and also whenever he wears it and he's not like doing anything actiony and he's just having a conversation with her, I'm like, this costume is really ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
But then, to his credit, he immediately flies off as soon as they track Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what I love during the fight scene, which is, it's crazy to me that it hasn't occurred to a fight choreographer before, he literally uses his jetpack to like push somebody away from him while he's fighting them.
Yeah, that was a good move. I like that.
I was like, that's great. Like, why didn't the Rocketeer kill more people with his jetpack? Or Boba Fett? Or anyone with a jetpack ever?
Missed opportunities.
You got a flamethrower covering your whole butt. Come on.
Yeah. It's just good to see him back in the suit, though. I mean, it was starting to feel like Sam in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Just a guy in the Winter Soldier.
Kind of.
yeah. So, and then as soon as Hoskins dies, and like he's going to be going on some kind of a rampage, I was kind of hoping he was going to be running around, throwing the shield, and just immediately decapitating people left and right.
Yeah.
All over.
I kind of thought that too.
Yeah. I was like, all right, what's the extent of his psychotic break gonna be?
I was actually surprised that in what we did see happen, that it took him as many times as it did to kill the man. He probably killed him on the first one, but I guess he just...
Let's say I think he was dead after the first one. I think the rest was overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we get the shot that is going to be probably the most used shot for any review of this show ever. Anytime people talk about the show, it'll probably be this shot of him standing with this shield with blood on it.
Oh yeah, God,
Yeah.
that was a hell of a shot. Such a
good
great
shot.
shot.
It felt really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious now too. What the GRC's move is going to be, because now it's clear that he is a problem, and regardless of whether or not the Flag Smashers are the bad guys, like, they can't have like their soldier killing people in public, like,
Right.
willy-nilly, especially
Yeah.
especially not with that amount of force.
And everybody
Yeah.
with their phones out. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we get more of Sebastian Stan's knife work.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is probably exclusively the reason why they decided to use so many knives. Because Walker gets probably the best line of this episode about why so many knives.
Yeah, that was a pretty great moment.
But
That and earlier in the episode when Bucky clarifies to Zemo that Sam doesn't mean that Nazis are their friends, but the Avengers are their friends.
the Avengers, not the Nazis.
Yeah, that was good.
That's a good line. But yeah, this was a good action scene to round it out. You've got a lot of physical performances by the main cast. They all seemed like they're up to the task. After watching this fight scene with Sebastian Stan flipping the knife around and stuff, I had to go back and watch Winter Soldier stuff again. It's cool to watch. Hey, Sebastian Stan and Chris Evans together doing like their fight choreography was always really good. There was really good momentum and force to it, and he continues to do that throughout this episode, like this whole season.
That,
Got a good
that was
physical presence.
literally one of the things that I was telling my fiance last night. We went and saw Nobody, was how good the fight choreography was. And I mentioned that, like, in the MCU, at least in the movies, there's not a whole lot of fights that really stand out for me, but Winter Soldier has some of the best ones out of everything they've done. That in the fight with Batroc in the beginning, like being very high on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Winter Soldier still stands as some of the best fight choreography.
Oh, agreed. Oh, and I didn't even mention the elevator fight in that movie, which is
Yeah.
another amazing fight sequence.
Yeah.
Which they had to call back to on Endgame.
Yes, yes.
And they just couldn't help themselves. And they're like, we need to have some Chris on Chris action as well.
Chris on Chris.
But, both Evans this time.
Yeah. Not any of the other Chris's in the MCU, of which there are a plenty.
So many Chris's.
Plethora. But yeah.
That's episode 4.
Yep.
There was another shot in this episode that I told Sarah as soon as I saw it. I'm like, oh, that's going to be a meme. And it's when Zemo is sneakily leaving the room while the fight is ensuing, and he backs out and like closes the door. I'm like, I can see that totally becoming a GIF, just like the Homer Simpson.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it in those terms, it must have been that there was subconscious influence of that shot from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
In that actual shot that they did.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, now it's a weird time because I feel like I see that and I think of that and I'm like, they must, like you said, like while they're shooting stuff, they must be like, oh, this is going to catch on and this is going to be a Giphy thing. Just like with the Zemo dancing last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which has generated the one shot of Zemo dancing generated enough memes and fans to get Marvel to just release basically the edited dailies of Zemo dancing.
Yep.
And now we have that, and now we have memes about that, where Marvel fans are touting, we only waited 4 days to get the Zemo cut. Beat that, Snyder Cut fans.
Oh, no.
Snyder Cut, baby!
So, yeah. That's unbelievable, that shot. It's great. So we have 2 more?
2 more.
Yeah,
Yep.
2 more.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how it goes until the end of April. And then,
Is this supposed to be a one and done, or is this like a potential for season 2?
as far as I know, it's a one and done.
So they got Carl Lumbly for 1 scene as Isaiah?
So
we
far.
get 1 scene of Isaiah? I want him to come back and kick so many asses.
I think so. we are definitely headed towards Young Avengers. I think they're just establishing characters to put into that.
That
now.
makes sense.
And so that's why Isaiah shows up here so that we can shoehorn him into the next show. We're living in a new age of streaming where characters introduced in one series move seamlessly into the next.
Right. A la Mandalorian and its 9 or 14 spin-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well. Sure. Great stuff. Give it to me.
They know how to do it. So, yeah, that is episode 4. Does anybody have any more thoughts?
Nah, I got nothing.
I don't think so. Been spending not a lot of time on Disney Plus this week. More Paramount Plus.
Oh.
A different plus. How many pluses are there? Are there 3?
There's Apple TV Plus. There's Paramount Plus.
And Disney Plus?
There's
There's Google
got to be
Plus.
one more.
Is there a Google Plus?
Yeah, when they tried to
Plus
make
was that-
Facebook
yeah,
like
that's
10 years ago.
social-
Oh, right. I forgot that was what that was called.
Everybody did.
I would like
because
to
it was
retire.
that bad.
I would like to retire Plus. That would be good. But that's my final thought. I would like to retire Plus.
All right.
Change it to
What
Disney
hap-
Moss.
Yeah, I was going to say, Somebody needs to like have the balls to make a streaming service called Minus.
Yeah. Yeah, like your theatrical releases, but somehow worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Netflix is feeling like these days, if I'm honest.
Netflix minus?
Netflix minus. Stick around and watch our catalog dwindle.
Disney minus, and it's just Song of the South.
Oh no. Ooh. Wow.
You have to pay a continual license fee for the privilege of watching Song of the South whenever you want. It's like a $2 monthly subscription, 1 year minimum, in order to just be able to watch Song of the South.
Oh no. It's a Hulu minus, but all it is the episodes of various comedies that had blackface and were pulled from their streaming library.
No.
And
Community's
then,
one of those.
well, there'd be an episode of Community on there then. That's good.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yep.
episode.
There'll be, I think, 3 or 4 episodes of It's Always Sunny.
Yeah. Maybe eventually just
I think-
all TBS original sitcoms move over there.
Actually, I believe that episode still is on Hulu.
Oh, yeah?
I think
Which
it was
one?
pulled from Netflix and the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons.
It is not.
Oh, it's
because
not.
I had to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime.
That's it. Okay, one of them still has.
Because Michelle and I watched them all the way through, and we had to watch that one episode on Amazon Prime because it was the only one that had it.
Yeah. Back again next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, back again.
See,
Next Sunday. And then do we have are we down after this show? Or do we have anything coming up after the next 2 episodes? Do we have another show in the pipeline?
That has yet to be seen.
Okay.
We will find out. If people want to, let us know what they would like us to cover. We could take a break until Loki, which doesn't happen until June 11th, which is strange that they're doing that now that Black Widow is coming out when it is, because I thought they were leaving May open just to give Black Widow all the time to take up that space. I have heard rumors that maybe it's actually purposeful that they pushed Loki to June to coincide with Black Widow, because there could be something tying those two together.
Oh, that'd be... Yeah, I could see that. That'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know if it's actually interesting.
if we need something, we can always do a table read of the Meadows cut of Justice League.
Oh, God.
Oh.
So you're going to spend more hours of your life dealing with the Justice League.
Yeah.
My Justice League, Alex, the Meadows cut.
And Ryan,
In this one-
your video's doing that Max Headroom thing again. It's
Doing
great.
the Max Headroom.
In the Meadows cut,
it.
Yeah, in the Meadows cut.
Roll with it.
in the Meadows cut, Batman only says the F word.
Oh, so Batman is just fuck.
Oh.
F-F-D F-F. I can't bleep it. I'm running the show. There's no ability for me to bleep it.
It's literally just that scene from The Wire with Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, general audience viewers. This is like that episode of NYPD Blue where they sweared on TV.
Which they parodied in South Park.
Yeah.
Alex Brunel, the Charles Rocket of the podcast.
It's me. Hello. Yeah. No, I got nothing.
All right. So, yeah, until next week, check out our review of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
We did that.
Yeah, which
We did.
I think unanimous masterpiece.
Ugh.
And so yeah, we'll be coming back with
It is
episode
technically
5.
art.
We could do a
episode 5.
separate podcast on is the DC cinematic universe art. We could discuss that, and that could take up 90 minutes. I guarantee that we could get 90 minutes out of that question.
Or by committee, maybe.
Yeah, see, there's all kinds of semantics arguments to play in that kind of a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderland of
Here's-
words.
Here's my entire thesis for why it is. Because you can't spell fart without art.
That's probably like that's the best you could do. Honestly, that's a airtight argument.
Your Honor, I rest my case.
Okay.
All right, Travis, take us home.
Okay. Yeah. And stay tuned to find out what's going to be going on in May. We have the Bad Batch coming, but we don't know if we'll be covering that or not. That'd be quite a commitment if we did, because then that would inevitably coincide with Loki later down the line.
Yeah, I think maybe if anything, Trav, that's because Dustin and Ryan, you guys are not Clone Wars people, so you have like less than no desire to watch the Clone Wars spin-off, right?
I'll probably watch it at some point. Well, especially now that Clone Wars is actually all out there. I'm probably going to get around to it at some point. So. Well,
maybe we consider just doing like a show for that. Like once the whole season has been consumed, we can.
That's fine with me.
We can maybe just do a review show about it rather than going episode by episode.
Oh yeah, and especially if that's not until June. That's going to be packing and starting to move time for me. So.
Oh yeah.
The less podcast commitments I have, the better.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. So in the meantime, Alex, where can people find more of you?
On Instagram and Facebook. No, don't find me on Facebook, for the love of God. On Instagram and Twitter at Alex Brunel. And if you need a local 600 camera assistant to keep your movie in focus and keep your camera department in order, go to my website, abrunel.com, for my latest resume and contact info.
Oh, and Dustin, how about you?
You can find everything I got going out at DustinMeadowsComedy.com and at Dustin Meadows on Twitter and Instagram. Do not hire me to camera op for you because I am awful at it. Instead, go to Alex.
All right. And Ryan, how about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter at Harbjagen. That's HARBJAGEN. Yeah.
Cool. And you can find the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, streaming live every single week. And you can subscribe to us on any podcatcher of your choice. Subscribe, leave comments, emails, reviews in English or any language of your choice. I appreciate all the comments, even when we're not posting illegal dubs of movies and we confuse you. I'm sorry. And yeah. So until next time, piss off, you ghosts.